giants.
They're putting the people out of business, particularly at a time when people want more organic food. They don't want Auschwitz Farms eggs coming from, I love the names like Sunnydale Farms, you know, Hillendale Farms, chicken coop concentration camps. People want a higher quality, and they know that they're going to erode the profit base of these large corporations that work on very thin margins. So they're putting them out of business. They're making it more and more difficult for them to compete. Competition's all but dead, and they keep killing it more and more.
Every private individual in America deserves to have the basic human right to buy farmland and cows and share their production of food with others. With the government trying to destroy small farmers because they are a threat to the market share of major agricultural corporations, it's a sure sign that a U.S. breakdown of society is imminent. The government claims to be trying to protect our health, but any American with common sense knows that the natural food produced on these small farms is a lot more healthy than the food produced by large corporations that are loaded with artificial preservatives and other unnatural ingredients. The police obviously know they are in the wrong if they have to show up with such excessive force that is clearly unwarranted for the situation. Imagine if one of the workers at the farm was using their thermal laser temperature guns while the raid was taking place. The cops would have most likely shot and killed the worker, knowing full well that no one would hold them accountable for their actions. Illinois Senator Richard Durbin recently introduced a new bill, S-510, the FDA Food Safety Modernization Act. This could be the most dangerous and destructive bill ever introduced in our nation's history. If enacted, it will make it illegal to grow, share, trade, or sell homegrown food. This legislation is so broad that someone with a backyard garden could get fined and have their property seized.
It's written so broadly that they can come and shut us down, and it scares the farmers out here. They may decide it's not worth the risk to lose my land.
This bill seeks to effectively put all U.S. food and farms under the control of the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Defense. NIA finds it outrageous for something this unconstitutional to even be considered, but it already has a shocking 17 co-sponsors in the U.S. Senate. Most Americans would be shocked to learn that there is already an executive order that allows the government to take over all food resources and farms during a crisis. NIA believes that all executive orders are unconstitutional because it allows the president to enact a law without approval from Congress. According to the U.S. Constitution, if the president wants to pass new laws during a national emergency, he must call Congress into an emergency session. During the Great Depression, Congress enacted the Agricultural Adjustment Act, which paid farmers to destroy their crops in an attempt to artificially raise food prices. This increased the duration of the Great Depression, which would have ended a lot sooner without it. Declining food prices due to technological advances should have allowed Americans to maintain their standard of living even with rapidly falling wages. However, the Agricultural Adjustment Act led to millions of Americans overpaying for food and nearly starving to death.
In the Great Depression, rabbits saved a lot of people from starving. I mean, you can look it up. And in America, they've always been typically pets. So people, they don't look at them like in Europe, where it's you know, a food source.
Right.
But like I said, right now they're just pets, and hopefully it never comes down to that because they are cute.
The U.S. is currently on the brink of a major food crisis that will lead to millions of Americans starving to death this decade. In October of 2009, NIA predicted that inflation would appear next in food and agriculture. In just the past few months alone, coffee prices have gained 40%, pork belly prices have gained 50%, and wheat prices have gained over 100%.
Being in the restaurant business, I have the luxury of going to Restaurant Depot to buy in bulk for substantially less money.
Have you been seeing a lot of inflation over the past month?
I was in Restaurant Depot 2 days ago, and the last time I was there was about a week and a half prior to that. And coffee went from $16 for a 5-pound bag of beans up to $18.50. Over the summer, that same bag was $15 back in August. Rice went from $26 for 100 pounds to $29. Sugar went from $22 for 50 pounds to $28.
Wow.
Flour is $13 for 50 pounds up to $15.50. Beef used to be, I don't pay too much attention to the beef only because I get it locally all natural, but I do kind of glance at the prices. Beef over the summer was, for the chop meat, I remember that was $1.79. It's $2.09 now for the same amount.
Yeah.
Cheese, like mozzarella cheese, went from $1.59 a pound to $2.09 a pound. That happened pretty rapidly.
In December of 2009, NIA said catastrophic food shortages were possible beginning in 2010, not just in the US, but all around the world. NIA was right. There is a major food shortage currently taking place in Pakistan due to flooding. This is just a preview of the food shortage that will soon take place in the US due to hyperinflation.
Overwhelmed by desperate survivors, this truck simply cannot ensure aid is delivered to those hit by the devastating floods. This would-be good citizen beats back the people he's trying to help. Without a coordinated effort by the government or aid groups, delivering supplies becomes a piecemeal effort that often falls short of what's needed. The scale of this disaster is overwhelming, and the lack of a centralized effort means that good intentions can go to waste.
In these storage bins, you know, I don't know if it looks like a lot of food to you guys or not, but I could break it down and pretty much tell you how much of everything.
Yeah, I mean, why don't you go through it a little bit? I mean, I'm interested to know.
There's different ones with pasta. Like I said, the macaroni I have about 300 pounds. This is salt. I have 150 pounds of salt. You need to dip most foods in water and salt before you put it in a dehydrator. There's 400 pounds.
Pasta's great to have, it seems, you know, because you
can
always have it. It fills you up.
The calories,
it's not that expensive.
I try and go by the calories. You know, how many calories you're going to need to, do what you have to do if you can't go to the supermarket, and buy things that are beneficial for your body. Where pasta's not. I got that because my wife, she wanted it. I wasn't buying any until she kind of demanded it. Yeah, I was buying. I have like 400 pounds of beans, dried beans. The bags look like this if you could see it. I got these things duct tape. I'll tell you about the storage when I'm done talking about that. But I've got 400 pounds of beans, 400 pounds of dried peas. There's 400 pounds of flour. This is some of the flour here.
Right.
In that one, there's baking soda. I have baking powder. There's like a year's worth of tea bags. In those, there's 200 pounds of rice in there. I have about 1,000 pounds of rice. The rice and the dried beans are, in my opinion, if you don't have, if you're working on a limited budget like I am, and like most people are, I think for the money, the rice and beans are probably the best thing for you in terms of nutrition, calories, proteins, carbohydrates. I think it's a good mixture of what you're going to need. There's sugar. I have 200 pounds of sugar, which if I use it all or barter it,
Yeah. Because you got to think not only for yourself to eat, but also to have enough to barter if you need something else.
People are going to want. I have about a year's worth of coffee beans. This is the bag of coffee. I have about a year's worth of this stuff because this will be another. I drink coffee every morning, but this went from $15 in late August to $16 a week and a half ago to $18.50 2 days ago.
Wow.
So coffee's pretty expensive. This is something. If the business opens soon, I'll buy a lot of this, and I know this will be valuable. This will be a valuable commodity to trade with people. I think in total, between upstairs and there's like 30 tubes of toothpaste. I have 30 toothbrushes, dental floss. I got like 50 bottles of shampoo, toilet paper. I think toilet paper is going to be in demand when everything falls apart.
Everybody's so accustomed to having these things,
I'd rather have it in storage and not take the chance of having to use a leaf.
While most Americans today are concerned about making their mortgage payments, that will soon be the least of their concerns. Hyperinflation will effectively wipe out the debts of most Americans, as it will allow them to pay off their mortgages with depreciated US dollars. Unfortunately, hyperinflation will make the lives of Americans far worse off because it will cost thousands of dollars just to fill your refrigerator with food. Not only is the merger of state and corporate power destroying the agricultural sector, but it is also sabotaging U.S. healthcare. The American Psychiatric Association is now trying to con Americans with the pushing for the invention of a new mental disorder, healthy eating disorder. That's right. If you are focused on eating healthy foods, the healthcare industry wants to diagnose you with having a disease so that it can sell you dangerous medicines to help cure it. This is similar to how they invented phony mental disorders like ADHD and manic depressive so that they can make billions by poisoning you.
Well, Jim Kaiser turned himself into the 4th Avenue jail today. He believes everything he did was within his rights as a parent, but now he's an accused felon. Ben Kaiser's mom said he has ADHD. A doctor and the courts agreed, so they decided to put him on medicine.
I just can't bring myself to do it.
Dad disagreed.
These drugs, in my opinion, are child abuse. It's just insane. You take a perfectly normal kid and you just wipe him out with these drugs just so he can sit still in school.
Jim Kaiser saw the writing on the wall. Ben's mom was going to get custody, so he took his 9-year-old and disappeared.
Basically dropped off the grid. Apartment found vacant, no more phone calls, no more use of a credit card, nothing.
For 3.5 months, police had no luck tracking them down. A random traffic stop in Florida spoiled Jim's plans. Ben's mom flew to Florida to get him back. She said she plans to keep him on the medicine because it helps.
Isn't it possible that everyone else is right and you're wrong?
No, it's impossible. I know my son better than anybody in the world. I've spent more time with him than anybody in the world, including his mom, and I know him a whole lot better than the courts do.
I know sometimes we may not agree with everything that's happening, but that's the system that we have, and it's the best system that we have to work with right now.
The FDA has brainwashed Americans with the belief that only toxic and poisonous chemicals called prescription drugs can cure anybody of anything, and that no whole plant food or whole food supplement can heal anyone from anything. This is the exact reverse of the truth, yet many brilliant doctors and researchers have had their reputations ruined and their businesses destroyed for daring to help heal people of diseases by something so simple as changing their diets and lifestyles. The FDA does not care about the health of Americans. They care only about the wealth of their corporate friends. The FDA is trying to ban electronic cigarettes because they are becoming a threat to the success of tobacco companies.
But these cigarettes do not have tobacco.
You're eliminating the 3,000 chemicals that make up an actual tobacco-filled cigarette.
These are electronic cigarettes. They contain one highly addictive ingredient, nicotine, and run on a battery. It warms up a cartridge of liquid nicotine, creating a vapor.